Hello there, and welcome to your UNET Plus weekly show Guest of the Week. Today, during 10 minutes, we're going to talk about the hot topic here in the European Parliament in Strasbourg. This is the EU Tobacco Directive. Our guest is a British MEP, member of the Socialists and Democrats group here in the Parliament, and she's above all the person in charge of the revision of the EU Tobacco Directive. Welcome to you, Mrs. McAvan.
Hello.
Hello, Ms. McAvan.
Hello.
Also next to me, we've got Jean-Michel Boss. Hello, Jean-Michel.
Hello, Laetitia.
So today there was a big smell of smoke here in the European Parliament in Strasbourg. As we know, MEPs have voted the revision of the EU Tobacco Directive, and for that, finally they voted new rules of the packaging. So large pictorial health warning will be covered 65% at least of the packs, but also menthol cigarettes will be banned, but only in 8 years. But slim cigarettes won't be banned, and also the e-cigarettes won't be classified as a medicine. So, Mrs. McAvan, are you satisfied with those decisions?
Well, in politics, you win some and you lose some. And so, of course, today there were some things I would have liked to go differently, but other things which went well. I'm pleased that we're going to have these big warnings on front and back of pack, because if you where we are today with laws,
65%.
65%, but that's quite a big proportion of a pack of cigarettes. Front and back, and the sides will also be taken with big warnings. So most of the pack now will be with warnings, and very, very importantly, the warnings will be at the top of the packs. And that's very important, because when you see cigarettes displayed in shops, often they cover the warnings now with the displays. You don't see them. So when you always see, buy me, I'm an attractive cigarette package. Now we will reverse that. This is very important, because we know that young people are attracted by packaging. And that's what this law is about. This law is primarily to stop young people from becoming smokers in the first place.
But you did not propose, sorry, Laetitia,
yes.
You did not propose plain packages like, for instance, in Australia. Why not?
Well, plain packages is 75% warnings, plus they keep the branding. That's what plain packaging means. You keep the branding of the cigarette, but you have it against a neutral color background. So the difference between a plain package, if you like, and the warnings is, the warning is smaller. The branding will be allowed in the color of the cigarette companies. That's the difference with plain packaging. But it's still a big step forward compared with where European law is at the moment.
Yeah.
So so the menthol cigarettes, okay, it will be banned, but only in 8 years. So that's a long time since now.
Yes, well, I didn't support that. I think that menthol cigarettes, we know from all the scientific research that menthol cigarettes are very bad for health, because often young people start smoking menthol because they're easier cigarettes to smoke. And I asked around, I asked my colleagues, when did you start smoking? And most said 14, 15 years old. What was your first cigarette? Many said menthol, because it's easier to smoke, it doesn't irritate your throat in the same way, but doctors tell us you inhale more deeply.
And it's particularly dangerous for young smokers, for youth, for
yeah,
instance.
exactly, because you're inhaling more deeply.
And now we have to wait 8 years.
We have to wait 8 years.
Which is quite long.
It is. The council has voted 3 years. Personally, I would have preferred they just go when all the other flavours go. But that is democracy. We have now a vote. So at least, but I think the good thing is, now that the tobacco companies know that these products are going to go from the market, they will not invest so much in their promotion anymore, because they were pushing these cigarettes in a big push to market more. But now they're going to go off the market, so they're wasting their money trying to create a big market.
You say that the Council proposed 3 years. The Council has a stronger position than the European Parliament on menthol cigarettes?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes, the Council wanted only a 3-year extension. So yes, Parliament was heavily lobbied about menthol cigarettes and voted for more.
The tobacco industry, Philipp Morris International, they already reacted, and they sent a statement, and they say, well, this ban on menthol cigarette, it will simply fuel illegal trade, which means no matter what you decide, people are going to continue to smoke.
Well, the tobacco industry always say this about every EU measure, every measure for tobacco control. They always say they won't work, and then they spend millions lobbying us against them. So if they don't work, why do they spend money lobbying? tobacco industry itself was implicated actually in illegal trade and was fined by the European Commission a number of years ago. This new law, in fact, will tackle illegal trade by requiring much tougher controls on packaging, holograms on packages, track and trace systems. So things are going to get tough on illegal traffic of cigarettes. That's a very big issue, but it's not. It's not. We should ban the flavourings because the flavourings are sold in everyday shops, and those are the ones young people buy first.
So you say that menthol cigarettes are easier to smoke, but what about the slim cigarettes? I mean, it's also easy, and we see a lot of young people also smoking slim cigarettes, especially girls.
Yeah.
So what do you think? So there would be no ban about that. So
well,
why?
I would have banned. I would have also. The European Commission proposal was to take slim cigarettes off the market, but Parliament didn't support that. And again, we live in a democracy. I thought it was the best measure, but very importantly, some of the packaging for these cigarettes will disappear. The ultra slims, which go in these little lipstick packages, they will not be allowed anymore. They go off the market because the packaging law requires a big surface so that you can see the warnings. Because these little tiny packages, they're designed for young girls. They're pink, they have flowers on. They're not designed even for grown women. Because we all have to remember it's children who start smoking, not adults. It's not women my age who suddenly say, oh, I'm going to start smoking today. It's children who start smoking. And so they design products for children. So at least we have this. To me, this is also a step forward, that these kind of little pink packages with flowers, little Vogue and Allure, all these things, they will start to disappear.
Concerning these health warnings on packagings, can you tell me why, let's say, an adult consumer, which is responsible, should face those large and awful pictorial health consumer when you want to buy some cigarettes?
Well, because I think even smokers recognize that they don't want their children to smoke. I haven't met a smoker yet who said, I'm really great, my 14-year-old just bought their first cigarettes home, they're lit up at home, fantastic, a lifetime of addiction. So most smokers want to quit, from all the research that we know. And it's true that when the surveys are done, the impact on older smokers is less than on younger smokers. But in Canada, they brought in these big warnings some 10 years ago, 11 years ago. The number of young smokers went down from 25% to 12%. In the EU, where 29% of smokers are young people, if we could get that down to 13%, it's a fantastic result from something which is a small measure, which doesn't detract. If you want to smoke a cigarette, an adult, you smoke it. But if we can really cut the number of new smokers, I think that's really worth it.
So that means we work for the next generation and not for the adult or old consumers, smokers.
Well, this is what this law is primarily about. It's about stopping a new generation of smokers from being recruited as smokers. If you look at the overall trends, the trends are down for smoking across the whole of the EU. But in recent years, we've seen the numbers of young smokers going up, and that's because we've got gimmicky products on the market, these kind of lipstick capsules, flavoured cigarettes, ones that flick out, designed to get young boys. These are not the kind of products we want to see on our markets. Who wants to see 15-year-olds recruited to be smokers? Nobody.
But nobody wants to see also a 40 years old man, died from tobacco.
Absolutely. I don't want to see that either. But we have other tobacco control measures which also affect them. But this is about one set of measures which will help stop the new smokers. It should lead to overall a reduction of 2%. And yes, I'm very happy to bring forward more measures on tobacco control as well. But for today, we have this law, and this is the one we voted.
But reducing 2% in 5 years won't be, because we're going to wait maybe a long time before this.
Well, no, that calculates, because this is a directive, it's a European law, and always in a European law, you have a period in which the governments have to put that law into action in their own countries. So it was always proposed that the law would take effect from about 2016, depending when we adopt it. So that's always the case with EU law. But we know from previous laws, like the one from 2001, that they do have an impact. You don't see cigarettes anymore labelled as light cigarettes, as we used to. We used to have these low tar light cigarettes. They disappeared from the market, and they do have an impact on public health.
So you just received a mandate now to negotiate with the council. So when do you think we can expect a new law Can we expect a new law before the European elections?
Yes, I mean, I would hope that we can start negotiations next week with the ministers. Because every EU law has to have ministers and MEPs have to agree it, so we start negotiating next week. And I would hope that we'd have an agreement by Christmas, and then we'll go through the technical procedures. It has to come back to Parliament for it to be agreed by Parliament. So I'm optimistic now. Got a big mandate that we will get a new law in time for the elections.
But it would be a very tough negotiation. We know that some countries like Poland and Italy are very reluctant against a new directive.
Yeah, we do know, but we also know that 16 member states wrote to MEPs on Friday urging MEPs to support the new law. In some ways, the Council has been tougher on tobacco than the MEPs. So it's a mixed bag. The area where they're furthest away is on electronic cigarettes, where Parliament has one position, and the Council, the ministers, want e-cigarettes to be medicines, to be licensed as medicines.
This is the big difference between e-cigarettes.
This is the biggest difference between Parliament and Council at the moment, and obviously we have to find a compromise on this issue.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. McAvan. Thank you for being our guest of the week. And thank you all for following us on Euronet Plus. See you next week in Brussels.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.